On September 14th, the Gillespie County Commissioners Court held a public hearing on a permit to request a permit for a wine and music festival to be held Aprils 12th, 13th, and 14th, about a week after the April 2024 eclipse. There has been some public pushback on this, and so the public hearing was held to address that. About 180 people showed up for the public hearing being held at 38 Business Court at the Texas AgriLife Extension Service. The first speaker you're going to hear will be Marcus Fetterman, who is a co-owner of Wine Country LLC.
Truth. The second thing is that I wasn't welcome back in Gonzales County. For those of you who have read some of this stuff online, Gonzales County is very supportive of me. In this slideshow, you'll see some letters from the county judge in Gonzales County, the emergency management folks, as well as the sheriff, the landowner, some of my neighbors. They have welcomed me back. They are very excited about FloFest coming back to Gonzales, which it will soon. We had a great year last year. On the emergency management side, public safety and government side, it went well. There were no issues with it. I received 3 permits there in Gonzales County, and some of those folks work for me as well. They are consultants for me for this event. I'm very, very supported in that town. That town wrapped its arms around me. So I hope maybe someday that can happen here. We will not be taxing the local resource law enforcement system. That will not happen. We have all of our own internal public safety, and I'm going to go through that in this slideshow here. There's some reports online that $100,000 worth of merch was stolen at my festival. That is not factual. There's a newspaper article that talks about it. It was reported very early before any details were known about it. At this time, there's no police report for that incident. There's no insurance claim. We asked multiple times for a police report and insurance claim. It never was produced. The vendor that claimed it paid $1,000 to have a booth at my festival and was frankly a giant pain in the butt, this person. And we had security inside and out of the venue. And we really honestly don't know what his claim was for. I don't want to make any accusations upon him, but that is the truth of that situation. In the 10 years I've been doing this at a large scale like this, I've never had that happen before. It's the first time it's ever happened. 911 calls will not be routed to our site. That is something that we put in our application. Every application we've submitted, and I've submitted about 16 of these. Some counties do allow us to do that at large events such as Bonnaroo and bigger events. They do. That is something that they do. We've had safety meetings, and we are not going to do that at this one. There's been some concerns about Blanco County and Johnson City, and resources there being tapped out. That is simply not going to happen. We will not. I hear the laughs, but my track record speaks for itself. We do not tax the system. FloFest had 0 arrests inside the venue. We had 1 transport, and there were no issues, and it's been that way since I started. The water will not be pulled from that area. We're not going to have a well. We're not going to use groundwater. We have an entire water system. I'm going to go through that in this slide right here. Sewage will not be dumped in the creek. RVs will not be allowed to empty on the ground. We have a highly trained team that does all that, and that's also in here. Trespassing has not been an issue for me at any of my events. My other event has roughly 4,000 acres on both sides of me, and I've had no issues. The gentleman wrote me a letter, and it'll be in this presentation. Neighbors will be able to have access to emergency services to their homes. Schumann Road will not be accessible to my festival. We will close it off. It'll only be for neighbors, and I have a plan for that in here as well. And cleanup. Cleanup is high priority for us. We do a very good job of cleanup. And I'll be addressing that in here as well. I think that covers most of it. There's some other small things. such as there wasn't enough shade or AC at Flow Fest, which is not the case. We have plenty of shade. That whole site is full of shade. And I think that covers it. The rest of it I'm going to cover in this presentation. So the festival is called Wine Country, obviously. Myself and Mr. Kalmick, Bruce Kalmick, are the promoters, we're the owners of the business. Myself, I've been in the business for 27 years, at various degrees. I'm an artist, I'm a musician, I play every instrument, that's how I started. And then I'm also a real estate broker, and I did music and real estate at the same time, and I started getting into concert promotions. Flow Fest being the biggest, large scale event that I do. We kind of, I would say, pioneered the logistics for a camping festival in Texas, because before me there was nobody that was doing it at our scale, and I consult on other events as well. Mr. Kalmick owns a artist management company, and he has over 30 artists that he manages. They produce and manage in the thousands of shows a year with his artists. Lots of different Texas country artists that you've probably heard of, including Whiskey Myers and some of the events that are bands that are on our lineup. I will say that Bruce, and I'm not trying to brag too much on him, but he's a very important part of the Texas country music scene. Very, very good reputation, not just in Texas, but in the United States as a manager. Wine Country Festival LLC was created in April of this year. That's another thing that's been going around, that we're a new company. Technically, that LLC is a new company, but we are not new to this business. When we create an event, we form an LLC around the event, and that's how we operate. This is one of the letters. This is from the county judge in Gonzales County. Judge Pat Davis has been extremely helpful in my event. And his entire team, the sheriff, the emergency management coordinator, the EMS chief, everybody there, all the deputies, everybody in the court, everyone there has been fantastic. So this is in the permit application. For those of you that don't have it, it's on the Gillespie County website. You can read it on there. This is a letter from the property owner that I leased the land from. His name is Jim, and he wrote me a recommendation letter as well, saying that it was safe, there was no traffic backups, and it would be cleaned up before, during, and after. This one is from the Gonzales County Fire Marshal. He's also the emergency management coordinator. Again, traffic was handled in a professional manner. He goes on to give me a good thumbs up. This is from the neighbor. They're a large cattle operation that's on both sides of me. They take up the entire fence line on both sides of me. He goes on to say right here, He goes on to say right here, 0 damage, 0 trash, 0 harm. No traffic, 6,000 vehicles successfully entered and exited the property. Feel free to take photos of it if you want to read it later. So this is a summary of the event. It's going to be a 3-day festival. The dates are April 12th, 13th, and 14th. Our camping load-in begins at 8 a.m. on Friday. It ends at midnight that same day. We close the gates at midnight. Concert hours on Friday are 7 p.m. to 12 p.m. The music will start at 8 p.m. Camping load-in on Saturday and Sunday also starts at 8 a.m. The gates on Saturday and Sunday will be closed about an hour after we egress everyone out of the site. Our wine village, which will be, it will look similar to this bottom photo right here, will have It'll open at 10 a.m. on Saturday and Sunday. It will be open the entirety of the day until midnight. The way that we've designed the offering is that you come out and you can experience wine and food and good music. And I'll go into details of how the concert is set up on a couple slides from here. Campers have to be gone by noon on Monday, April 15th. They're usually gone by about 9 or 10 in the morning. By about 8, it's pretty cleared out. Economic impact. Similar events to mine with 100,000 people had about a $450 million impact to the city it was in. I kind of undershot this. I think we're more than likely a $50 million impact, but I estimated on here 30 million to be conservative. My other event in San Marcos was 15 million. It was a smaller event with lower ticket price, and hotels were cheaper, and etc. But wineries, hotels, B&Bs, restaurants, retail will all benefit from the increased tourism. There's been some rumors that because it's a camping event, there won't be any economic impact to people in the area, but that has not been the case with any of the events I've produced. There has been a massive impact for the area financially through all of these things. I think the biggest one here that will be impacted are the wineries. There will be increased business at those establishments, so I think that will be expected. Sales tax revenue will be a benefit to Gillespie County. We will generate a significant amount of that, not just through our ticket sales, but also through all of the people that come here and buy different things. We have talked about this in the community with a few people. We do want to find a local charity to partner with. That's something that we've been working on and talking with folks about. We do want to make charitable donations to help the community. We intend for this to be a wholesome event. It's not meant to be party and pasture, so to speak. We want this isn't tailgates and tall boys, one that's up in Illinois. This is a more refined community event. So obviously we are selling tickets to this event, and we do want to be profitable, obviously, but it is a wholesome community event, and we do want to give back to the local community in as many ways as we can. The venue, the reason why we're all here. So Albert is here. That's the dance hall right there. The red lines are the boundaries of the property, roughly. The property has been in the family of the owner for approximately 75 years. There's a lot of folks in this room that know the family and know the descendants. The property is approximately 442 acres. It's one of the primary reasons we chose this property, other than it looks like the state of Texas. We chose this property because it's large and it allows us to safely produce this event and have plenty of space. All the areas that will be used for the festival will be fenced. There's already permanent fence around all of this right here, and then along here and along here. But anywhere where there is festival traffic, there will be high fence with a screen. Trespassing is not tolerated in our organization. So, and it will be an annual festival. This is not going to be multiple times a year. The owner and I are in agreement on that. We only want to do this once a year. And obviously, we want to come in here and do it once and prove that we can do it right, and then hopefully be welcome back. We have no plans to do this past the first time if we can't do it right, and that's in my lease. So I have to come here and I have to produce a good event. If I don't, I'm out. So, we pride ourselves in what we do and producing a safe event. This is the site map. This has also been distributed around. I don't know if the current version has, but this is the current version. The orange up here is day parking. These are people that would come for the day. They're not going to camp. They're just going to come, enjoy the wine in the concert area here, and then leave at night. The green is camping. This over here is staff camping. This is way more than we'll use. We might use this right here, this little area here. Same thing with staff parking. We'll probably only have about 100 cars for staff parking. This is overflow camping. If we were to hit 30,000 attendees, this would get used, some of it, not all of it. But and I'll get to capacity on a couple slides, but we expect about 17 to 20,000 people. We do not expect 30,000 people. That would take up probably to somewhere in here. So all of this would get filled. This is the concert area right here. The wine village is the bottom half, and the stage is in the top half. Sorry, Joe, if this pointer's in your eye. I'll come back to this a couple times throughout this presentation as well. So this is the concert grounds here. Wine Village will be open in the day with a small stage. About 3 o'clock, this all opens and then the whole thing becomes open. This is pretty detailed. It's got the permit application that shows bathroom facilities. Every single thing on here is labeled on the map. We have a dot map in our security plan where each one of these little dots represents security personnel, or blue dots represent peace officers, orange dots are parking personnel. So that's how we mark the security. This site map and permit is meant to be a description of what we're going to do. Some of these things will adjust and shift as we get closer to the show. Capacity. So I think the big topic is this number right here. I asked for that number because I don't want to have to go back, obviously. I want to ask once. This is a first year event, and it would be, I would say, practically impossible for me to sell 30,000 tickets the first year of an event in a new town. It's just not realistic. I asked for 30,000 attendees because, frankly, the answer is I'd like to sell them. But I don't think that we will have that many the first year. I think 17 to 20 is a likely projection. Could be lower, could be 15,000. We projected around 20 at Float Fest, and we ended up with about 16. So, and that event's been around a long time. So, I think this year being the first year, new place, new venue, I think that's the number we can expect, especially with our lineup. My past camping events, which I've done several at this point, we average about 70% of the attendees camping. The rest of them will come for the day, and if you go back to the site map and the orange parking areas, that's where those people, the other people who don't camp will park. I wanted to show a couple photos. This is 2018 Float Fest in San Marcos, Texas, technically Martindale. That right there is what 20,000 people looks like. 19,677 to be exact, inside this gate right here. We have RFID chip readers on the wristbands. We know exactly how many people are in the gates at any time. We've got it on an app and we monitor it. So I just wanted y'all to see that's what it looks like. That's what 20,000 people look like. Obviously, you can see the cars are spaced out, fire lanes. This right here is 110,000. So I want everybody here to understand the difference between crowds. That's 110. That's 20. So I'm not doing this. It's not what I'm bringing here. There's been some stuff online about Burning Man and Woodstock. I have no plans to do that. I do not want to do that. I want this to be a boutique event, small capacity. In my business, 30,000 people is small capacity. I know that's a big number to y'all, and I respect that. But in my business, that's considered a small event. This right here is considered a big event. That's on about 60 acres right there. And there's multiple events like that around the United States. But I just wanted everybody to see the difference between what I do and what I think maybe some people think I do. Water. I think it's pretty ironic that it rained yesterday. At least it did in my house. We're all thankful for that. The way our water system is pretty complex. I tried to simplify it just so everybody can understand it. These tanks right here, these are 21,000 gallon tanks. They're potable. We'll have 2 of them on site, which will be about 50,000 gallons that are on site. We have a couple 6,000 gallon tanker trucks that will be on site as well. One to two, we're not sure yet, but these 6,000 gallon tankers are the ones that will be going to get more water when we need it. We have had events where we've used 60,000 gallons, and we've had events where we've used 100,000 gallons. I would anticipate that this one will probably be in the 60 to 80,000 gallon range, given that it's in April, it's not as hot. My other event is in July, and it is 95 to 100 degrees. We have limited truck trips due to these big tanks out there. That 6,000 gallon tanker won't have to make very many trips. Maybe 1 to 2 trips. We also have reefer containers like these. Reefer containers have 500 gallon potable water tanks inside them. And there's 4,000 gallons in each one of these things. And we'll have multiple around the site where our water stations are. Each reefer has a daisy chain plumbing system that hooks up to the tanks, goes out to a pressurized pump, and the pump goes out to our service stations. And the service stations are all over the campgrounds, the concert area, the wine village, etc. We have smaller 2,000 gallon trucks on site that will be tapping these big tanks and going around to these reefers and filling the tanks as needed. It normally only happens once a day, so we don't have truck trips going in and out of here. The water, as of right now, according to I have a letter after this slide, will be sourced from H2 Eco. They're out of Houston, Texas. They've done all my events. I've worked with them several times. They have contracts all over the state of Texas. They have 2 different TCEQ potable water hauler licenses. I run all my tanks from them. Pretty much every piece of water equipment that is out there I run from them. Currently, they have a contract with Fredericksburg Utility. We spoke with Fredericksburg Utility, and they told us that we can pull the water from there. I'm willing to not pull the water from there if the county doesn't want me to, or the city doesn't want me to. There are other sources we can get the water from. We can get it from pretty much anywhere, so I'm willing to do that, whatever makes the county happy. Bathrooms and septic waste. There's a lot of rumors going around that there won't be enough equipment for me to rent because of the eclipse. That simply is not the case. We have contracts with multiple companies that we work with on a regular basis. There's going to be an incredible amount of resources that are here in town during the eclipse, which is frankly an advantage for me. But we also have several companies that we work with who will not be here for the eclipse, who have more than enough equipment for me to use. Porta potties will be used throughout the site. We'll have the banks again all over the site. We're going to be offering to sell porta potties individually to each campsite with a lock on it. This allows us to not have to service as much because one porta potty can handle 7 people for 4 days. So it'll cut down on the community use of our porta potties and the servicing of those porta potties. Porta potties are, like I said, plentiful. We have no issues with contracts on any of the equipment that we're going to bring out. Bathroom trailers will be used in VIP areas such as this one right here, right there in the picture. Shower trailers, I have a photo on the next slide. Those will be used throughout the site as well. We have a team that manages those and cleans them, etc. Same with bathroom trailers. Servicing will be done by the same company that we rent all the units from. It's typically dumpsters, bathroom trailers, shower trailers, porta potties, servicing, tanks, gray water tanks. They all come from the same company. Right now we're in negotiations with 2 different companies on that. If we have this event, we will lock in those contracts. Large septic tankers will be staged on site, such as just like the water, large 6,000 gallon tankers, so that we don't have to make multiple trips for the smaller trucks to be able to service. The smaller septic servicing trucks will keep everything out there serviced, from the showers, the bathroom trailers, the porta potties, the gray tanks, etc. All of our bathrooms and showers have attendants to make sure that they're kept clean with toilet paper and all that good stuff. I would say bathrooms and showers, well, not showers, but bathroom trailers, these things right here, your servicing company is very important. That is the most important part of the entire sanitation operation, because if your bathroom trailer company can't service these regularly, they can get backed up. So, we make sure that we have a quality company that can do the servicing for us. This is what another one of the, this is a bathroom trailer. This is one of the smaller septic service trucks. And this is one of the larger septic service trucks. Trash and cleanup is another thing I think everybody in this room is concerned about. We usually start with about 25 to 30, 40-yard roll-offs that are placed around the site in various locations, the concert grounds, the campgrounds, the traffic block, or the parking lots. We have cleanup staff, around 30 to 50 people, depending on the size of the event. They'll be actively cleaning 24 hours a day. They don't leave the site. They start on Thursday. They don't leave until it's clean. We have 500 plus trash cans that we own that will be placed all over the site with liners in them. The trash will be cleaned up in the campgrounds throughout the entire event. We have crews that will be going around on UTVs with trailers to pick up trash. The campers are encouraged to leave their trash out 3 times a day, and we go by and pick it up. The clientele that we deal with are pretty courteous. They will pile their trash in a little pile in their 20 by 20 spot, and we come by and pick it up for them. The trash will be monitored on the roadways and surrounding areas. To date, I have not had that issue in any of my events where there's trash strewn out along the highway. I'm not saying that people don't throw trash out the window. That happens every day on every road in America, but we have not had any significant issues with it. Smaller cleanup continues until we're fully loaded out. Generally, after the show at night, our team comes in and sweeps the concert grounds. They're cleaning the campgrounds constantly. And then on Sunday night, when everyone leaves, they go out into the campgrounds and you'll see literally 30 people lined up, and they're walking the entire site front to back to get all the medium and large debris. And we go back and we get all the small debris. Usually by about 10 or 11 a.m. On Monday morning, sometimes noon, we were to drive down 1623 and look out into that pasture and not see any trash. They're out there, it takes them about 6 hours, and just knock it out. We'll still have trash obviously on the site in various areas, but the big bulk of the trash will be cleaned up Monday. And a lot of our vendors, they go to other events, they travel around the United States, so they have to be out of there. They are definitely in a rush to get out of there. They don't want to be there for a week. So traffic control. Think about the list. One issue that I've heard pretty consistently is this right here, and fears of what this could create. The first one is Schumann Road. Initially in my permit application, there was a redacted copy that was going around that had only half of my plan in there. Schumann Road originally was on that plan. After meeting with some of the community, I agreed that I would take Schumann Road off of the plan, which I did. So that'll be off limits to the patrons. I will potentially have some staff use it to go to our staff parking lot, which, like I said, will be around 100 cars, possibly. No more than that, but they would use that back parking lot that I showed you on the side now. And that's, of course, if that is another problem, I can just put them through the festival grounds, but I think it's easier for staff to avoid the festival grounds. Traffic control peace officer, we're going to start with that, will be at all these intersections right here. So 1623 and 290, Schumann Road and 1623, Lower Albert Road and 1623, Lower Albert 290, High Albert 290, High Albert and 1623, and also in Blanco 1623 and 289. We will have them there at the bigger intersections up here. The plan is to have them there in the evening for the egress. The daytime traffic trickles in at a pretty good pace, so I don't believe that these top intersections will assess it as the time goes on. They will be on staff, so if there's an intersection that needs the traffic, we will deploy them out to that area. The plan is to have these there for most of the event at every single intersection. And definitely down here by the festival, they will be there 24/7 the whole time. Traffic control officers will be at every gate and intersection inside the festival. Our permit application has a dot map that goes over where all of those are estimated to be right now. Signs along Highway 1623 in both directions will be deployed to slow down traffic. We've been talking about a plan to have, the guys in the road with the stop signs and the lead car, to where, if we do need to get traffic diverted around the festival entrance, we can. I don't anticipate that will be a problem, and I'll go into that in just a minute. The biggest part of our plan is on how we do it in parking queues. So right here, these are our parking queues. This is how we get cars in, effectively. The other site has 12 lanes currently. They're 1,000 feet long. I have room. This one I only have room for about 12, and it was plenty. We never filled it past about right here and about halfway. So that was filled up as it got to do all this. That's about average. That's what it usually stays at right there. And when they pull off 1623 into our property, they're queued into these queues, and we search the vehicles for weapons, and that's how we're able to get everybody off the road effectively when we don't have backups. We will have 10, 15, 20 cars that are slowed down, pull into the venue, but they dissipate in about 1 to 2 minutes, and we keep it clear the whole day. But we do not have traffic backups. We will not have a mile of cars going back, 4.5 miles of cars going back. The reason why we do Friday camping load-in is because they all trickle in. They come to a trickle. They don't all come at once. They come throughout the day, different times, and we load them in throughout the day. Our egress will be 2 to 3 of our main egress gates, and our end of night egress will be let out one camping section at a time. So these are our gates right here. Currently, we have a gate here, here, and here. I'll talk about how we load them out first. Each one of these campsites, there's a road in between them. We have barricades and officers that are in between these sections. And on Saturday night, the campers don't leave, just the day parking up here leaves, so they basically just get loaded out. We send them out left to 1623. All of our officers are experienced traffic control guys. They're all coordinated with radios, and everything is rehearsed. So when we let them out, if they get up to 1623 and 290, and we feel like there's the officer up there is telling us that there's too many vehicles, we cut it off right here. And we do that until we successfully get all of these out. Same thing the night after. All of these right here, each section at a time, we let them out, all the way back. We're going to message to everybody that it's a 2-hour wait time to get out of the property. That's something at Float Fest that we've never done because we didn't want to scare people off, frankly, because 2 hours is a long time. So at this one, we're going to message 2 hours to get out. We're going to message with peak times are. We're going to tell people how to be prepared for that, and what the best times to leave are, so that when they're in their car, they're not on Facebook, saying, why is it taking so long to get out of here? But any kind of traffic backups on the main egress will be on our property. It will not be on the roads. We do not allow that. That's half the reason why it takes us so long to get them out of there, because we want to be good to the citizens, and we don't want to cause any problems on the roads. So that's how we get them out of there. We have a rideshare pickup and drop off right here. That rideshare will come in and drop off and pick up. We have shuttles that will be, I'll talk about this later, but we have shuttles that will be coming from Austin, Houston, and San Antonio that come in, drop them off, come back, pick them up. We will also have some park and ride locations in Fredericksburg to take people out there, and more than likely from some wineries as well. Currently, I have a gate here, I have a gate here, and I have a gate here. I'm proposing a gate here. What we normally do when we are granted a permit is we have a traffic engineer that we work with. He helps us develop our traffic plan, or I should say our engineer, it's basically a sign plan. And the the traffic engineer submits that to TxDOT and we approve it. We have to have 425 feet between our gates. Currently in this stretch right here, we have enough 4 gates. I don't need 4, I have 3, and 3 are sufficient, but I'm proposing 4. I can also delete everything that's there and redo it, so that's what's on the table currently. We're going to build nice driveways, we're going to build nice gates. I can use the current ones there, but based on how these camping lanes are striped, at the end of the day is how I'm going to do my gates. So the permit application requires me to submit a description of my plan. This is the description. Obviously, in order to, hire engineers and do all that stuff, it takes money. So once I get a permit, if I get a permit, then I would go do that and implement that plan. So I've done this many times. I've never had an issue with it. TxDOT, all you have to do is follow the law. You follow the law, and you do your research. And you can have the driveways, you can have the gates. So, like I said, I already have 3 gates here. I'm confident that I can use these gates, and they are sufficient for what I'm looking for. So, that I think there's been some confusion on that as well. And I just want to clarify that. And my engineer as well has already looked at this and sort of told me what I can and can't do. So, TxDOT, the plan that the engineer will come up with will be all of the LED signs that will be up and down 1623 in both directions to slow traffic down. One of the last part of the traffic control, one of the biggest reasons why I chose this site, is Mr. Wilson, his family owned this side of 1623. The other side of the land of 1623 is in their family as well. So anybody on any driveways on this side, on the west side, or the east side, don't have to come through here. They can go up and around if they want to. If someone over here wanted to get over here, and you didn't want to go through here, they can go that way. Or they can avoid 1623 and go that way. So, it's the truth. So anyway, I know it's an inconvenience, but let's just try to all remember it's 3 days. I'm only going to be here 3 days. So, I know that it's three more days than you guys want, but I am only going to be here 3 days. So, but in terms of emergency services and neighbors being able to get emergency services, that will not be a problem. The entrances being right here will not stop that from happening. So, I'd like to bring up some of my public safety folks, if that's okay. Patrick, everybody sitting here, Robert, and thank you, Danny. I'd just like to introduce everybody to my team so that everybody understands the level that we operate at. I'm waiting for these guys to come up here. I'll start with Patrick. So, Patrick is my public safety director. I'll let him introduce himself.
My name's Patrick Bender. I've been working with Marcus for about since 2016. I've worked every float fest for Marcus on the county side and on the private side. This event, if it's approved, I'll be handling law enforcement, fire, EMS, all those different categories, and coordinating with the local officials. I have a government liaison that we'll work with to make sure that you guys get a chance.
I don't know if I need this. Yeah. My name's Danny Arredondo. I'm a retired Samurai police officer. I've worked for them for 32 years. In addition to everything I did there, I also coordinated all off-duty events, traffic control, security, details. I also own a company called JPA Traffic Services. Find them when you search. What we do is we vet only off-duty police officers, and we create traffic control plans. And we do it on a national level. We're in 17 states. But what we do is we will bring in officers, and we'll bring in a traffic division, and we'll bring in a security division. And we'll work with the traffic plan and any safety plan that they have. But before we do that, I always meet with the local sheriff and the local chief to ensure that we're all on the same page and that everybody we bring in is vetted, and we don't do it without the blessing of the local chief and the local sheriff.
Morning, Robert Inkhausen, neighbor from Granbury, Texas. Thank you for this opportunity. Yes, I'll be working with Marcus as security director. I retired April 28th from Texas Parks and Wildlife as a captain. I now am the executive director and partner with National Event Services. which is a nationwide company. We do about 3,600 live events a year, and 3 of the largest camping fests in the United States we have a component in. We've done events from 5,000 people to well over 100,000 folks. So we use best practices. We are participants in the industry and moving the live event industry forward and what's safer for everyone. Everything that we've done at these events is something that's carried out in large events, camping events or stadium events, whatever it may be. So thank you.
Thanks, guys. I just wanted them to all hear it from them, not from me. Sean Cohn as well couldn't be here today, but he's our medical director for Capital Medical Services. He's a firefighter in Cedar Park. He hires all of our EMTs, all of our paramedics. We'll have a physician on site, nurses, all the supplies in our medical tent, and I'll talk about that in more detail later. I think the biggest thing is that, you know, there's a lot of skepticism in this room, rightfully so, that I will tax the system. We will not tax the system. You know, you can laugh as much as you want, but that's my track record. I'm going to go off my track record. I'm confident in my track record. We won't. So, you know, we're prepared for large events. You know, my team handled this event is very small for my team. This is not something that you know, they can't accomplish. They do it every day. It's what they do for a living. So, you know, I have three active fire marshals on my team. So Patrick being with me the longest, followed by Danny and Robert. Robert does massive events. These events are way bigger than what I'm doing. So his responsibility level on this one is kind of a break from the norm for him because of the level of event that he produces. Security, we're going to have over 100 security personnel on site. You know, unarmed. The 100 will be unarmed. Those are in various locations around the concert. 60 plus peace officers. These are armed. These are commissioned peace officers in Texas. Traffic control, campground control, concert, backstage, etc. 24-hour security, both armed and unarmed, patrolling festival sites and surrounding areas, including Sherman Road, 1623. We have a command center on site with dispatch. It's on the map. It's labeled HQ. Our command center has weather ops in it. We have cameras. We have, you know, usually somebody from every organization in the county as a representative there, you know, to be there just in case. The county sheriff will only be dispatched if absolutely necessary. We typically have very few arrests on site. Our team handles everything very professionally, and you know, we typically are not having to dispatch the sheriff out there. I'm not saying it hasn't happened, because it has, but it's just very few and far between. And then all peace officers, all emergency management will be hired by the festival and not from the county. We will not be hiring any officers from Gillespie County. They're not up here to work, and we have agreed that we will hire all of our own officers and emergency personnel. Fire protection, like I said, we have 3 active fire marshals as part of our public safety management staff. Upon consultation with several different people in the area, in the permit application, we put 1 brush truck and 1 engine that will be fully staffed. That's usually what we have in an event this size, but we're willing to do, you know, whatever is recommended. Standby water tankers will be on site as well for water in case we need it. Fire inspectors will be patrolling the entire site for the whole event. We usually have 4 of those on ATVs. They're looking for open fires, fireworks, any kind of violators. We do not allow open fires or fireworks, and any violators will be asked to leave. We take this very seriously. We will have grass planted out there winter wheat, and we're going to keep it mowed to a low degree for the cars. We have never had any kind of issues with grass fires. Medical, we have a large hospital on site, 60 by 60 with air conditioning and flooring, and all the supplies that we need in it, the beds. We have smaller assist stations that are located around campgrounds, usually just 1 EMT with a radio and a UTV. We have 30 plus EMT and paramedics patrolling the site. They're stationed in the medical tent as well, and medical UTVs, the skids on the back so we can transport patients from on site. We have 3 ambulances that we rent privately that will be staged on site. We have a landing area for life flight. In my past events, we've worked with the local, air flight company, and we staged them on site.
We'd like to park there. We have physicians and nurses on staff in our medical tent. All the medical tent supplies are supplied by us. In our past events, we've had very few transports. The last Float Fest, we had one transport. It was actually a pregnant woman. Any possible transports will be taken to the hospital here in Fredericksburg. I've spoken to them, and they are aware of the event. Communications. So Wi-Fi will be deployed for our operations throughout the site. We have fiber connectivity, and I'll explain that a little more on the next slide. Wi-Fi pods will be placed throughout the site in various areas where patrons can be within a certain amount of feet around the Wi-Fi pod and they can access their phone or internet. We're going to have cellular boosting technology out there as well. Communications on wheels. We will, boost signal for all the major providers out there. I know there are some connectivity issues in the back of the property, and we will address that and have towers out there. We have two-way digital radios that we use for our staff. Computers that are placed all over the site. We have clear communications operationally within our staff. This is a letter from my networking guy. It's actually Caterpillar. They have an entertainment division. It's called CBS, and his company was just acquired by them. There's 3 companies in the United States that do the vast majority of the large events, including the Super Bowl, the Olympics, and everything. This guy's one of them. Very professional. I'm not gonna pretend like I know how to explain everything in this email right here, but I guess the essential part is that he's a wholesaler. He's a wholesale ISP. He has access to certain connectivity that the public doesn't, such as fiber. He can find out where it is and he can tap into it. So he's confident that can happen. He's already identified a couple spots near the venue. So we're confident that our communications will be appropriate for the area. This is one of his trailers. He has several of them. He brings these communications trailers out. He sets them up in various parts around the site. They monitor traffic, communications traffic, meaning they can see CCTV as well, but they can monitor the servers and make sure there's not too much traffic. They can throttle it around the site. So that, when we buy fiber, we buy a certain amount of gigs up and down. We can download and upload. And we throttle it so that everybody doesn't get too overloaded in one area. Some additional notes: our power on site will be used. We'll be using generators. A lot of our generators are what we call event generators. They're quieter than just like a construction site generator. Not all of them will be the event generators. The stage generators are definitely, those are our largest generators out there. Those are event generators. But there will be some out there that are just typical generators. We have some power on site, some shore power that we'll be utilizing as well. There's probably about 600 amps out there that we'll be using. Shuttles, like I said, we'll have shuttles coming from Austin, Houston, and San Antonio, possibly Dallas as well. We're going to have some local partnerized shuttles as well. I already mentioned the grass that we're planting. Weather. We have a weather monitoring service that we use that will be on site. We'll have a meteorologist on site. We're going to have mulch on site for smaller weather events if it rains. We will do a topography study where we find out where all the low-lying spots are, we have a team that's there that is designated only for weather ops. We'll go around and deploy whatever we have to deploy to keep people safe, whether it be mulch or Duradeck. Duradeck is like a portable road, basically. We only use that if it gets really bad. Any weather event, we will have a patron shelter in place while the weather passes. We've done this many times on many different scales. There's various ways that we communicate to that to them: social media, text messages, app notifications, our speakers on the site, our staff. Everybody's trained in how to deal with that. We will evaluate any weather patterns that occur prior to the show to ensure that the event can go on safely. If a weather pattern comes through and it is deemed unsafe, we would first internally talk with our insurance, talk with our public safety folks to determine whether we think it's safe. Then we would talk to the judge. The judge would basically give a blessing on whether or not it's safe to move forward. If it's not safe to move forward, the show gets canceled, and that's it. Everybody packs up and leaves. If a weather event occurs that is deemed unsafe to continue, The show will evacuate the same way the egress evacuation leaves at the end of the night. Obviously, it's going to take 2 hours to get everybody out of there, so we're watching the weather patterns, and we're making determinations ahead of time on what we think is the safest bet. We're always going to lean to safety, always. We're not going to do a show that's not safe, period. If a weather event occurs, like I said, we'll communicate that shelter in place to everybody in various ways. I think weather that has also been a pretty big question for everybody. You know, obviously my lease requires me to leave the place the way I found it. So, you know, there's going to be more issues for Mr. Wilson than there will be for anyone else because I'm going to have to be the one to clean up out there. We're going to have crews on the roads. If mud gets on the roads, we'll be out there cleaning it up. I'm really big on leave no trace. So I really want to be able to leave that place, and other than some grass batted down where the cars were, and won't know I was there. I know this is that's the end of this slideshow, but I know that this is a lot for y'all, and I respect that. I know it's a lot. I know y'all don't understand what I do. I'm sure a lot of you don't even like crowds. And probably why would anybody want to do this? You know, this is what I do. There's a market for it. There's a lot of people that love festivals. They love music. Music brings people together. That's why I love music. So that's why I'm here today presenting this. So, guys, I think that covers just about everything. So, passing on to you.
Thank you, Mr. Fetterman. Is there anybody here from DSHS? Any representatives from DSHS here? Is there anyone here from TxDOT? Okay, we're going to proceed with the public testimony. I'm going to go through the list in the order they were signed, in the order the individuals signed up. There's approximately 20 people that have signed up to speak. I'm not going to set a hard time limit, but I'm going to request that if you can, keep your comments to 3 minutes. That will put us at about an hour for everyone to make their comments. If you need to go beyond 3 minutes, as long as you're providing probative value and information, I'll let you continue. But if your comments become repetitive, I may cut you off. Okay. When I call your name, please come up. Do you have the microphone? Okay. If you come up here to the podium, please address your testimony to me and not to the public. And please state your name for the record when you appear as well to give your testimony. First person signed up is Mr. Michael Diaz.
Thank you, Judge. And given that we've been asked to sit through about 90 minutes of some new information, I'd ask to maybe have a little bit of leeway, but I'll do my best. I was aiming for 4, but I'm not sure I can do 3. Judge, I've written to you on 2 occasions with detailed material concerns about the 2 versions of the application that failed to address health, safety, emergency traffic, and survival of attendees and local residents. I won't go over all those concerns again today, but I do ask that those 2 emails are written into the record. I want to clarify something up front. This application is for 30,000 people, and despite some of the waffle from the promoter, the unexpected crowds and what may or may not happen, we're being asked as a county to allow 30,000 people, not 17,000, not 5,000, not 6,000, 30,000. And secondly, those letters, friendly letters from counties, which quite honestly, the people we talk to who live in those counties don't quite describe it that way. But in some sense, I wonder why they're relevant here. This is Wine Country LLC. It didn't exist when that effort was put on. And I know Mr. Fetterman was involved in it, but I don't know how it relates to this application because this organization was not even in existence at the time. So I want to talk about who I am, and I want to reference a comment that Mr. Fetterman just made, that we don't understand what he does. Well, I'm sorry, you're wrong. So who am I? First of all, my wife and I have owned a cattle ranch property on Sherman Road for 28 years. We built 2 houses out there and built a family in the community. I have relevant experience. I was chairman of the Kerrville Folk Festival for 4 years, a foundation board member, proud of that for 4 years. I've been a volunteer and a worker and a participant in many of the managerial decisions out there, including the initial submission of mass gatherings application at that festival. And for those that don't know it, that festival has been around for 52 years. And it's been a good neighbor to the people that live there. They love it there. And so I understand what it means for the amount of money that goes into the city of Kerrville, which is only about 6, 7, 8 miles up the road from people. And so, that they're over 18 days, you get significant economic benefit. I was also an entrepreneur in the software industry for 50 years, many backed by venture firms, and so I have some idea about why and how, and you probably know a number of the colleagues of the Why and How organization. I'm also a musician and play regularly around the hill country. So I want to highlight a couple of things. The first one is the emergency strategy. The primary emergency strategy at Kerrville Folk Festival is to shelter in place. Kerrville has infrastructure. It's been built there over 40 years. They have buildings. People bring large canopies that you can go underneath when it's raining. People have RVs and they have relationships with people throughout that community. And so when bad weather happens, there's a way for people who might be in harm's way on the facility to seek shelter. What I read in the proposal, the September 6th proposal, was that people who encouraged a shelter in place would use a convention center or pavilion for shelter. But I don't see any structures called convention center or pavilion mentioned in any of the maps. So I don't know what the shelter in place strategy is, and I'll come back to why this is important, but I don't see any planning for that. For a major weather event and flooding, they're going to tell everybody to leave. 30,000 people parked on notably greasy ranch property, that river bottom, creek bottom dirt that's been there that many of our neighbors live on. 1/10 of an inch of rain and you can't move a two-wheel drive car. Are going to be asked, those 30,000 people, 20,000 vehicles, that's how many parking spaces there are, despite some of the other numbers we've heard, will be asked to drive out of there in the middle of a major weather event. To me, that just means that something worse is going to happen. So there's no shelter-in-place strategy, and the exit strategy is equally, if not more dangerous. And those roads, for example, in 2015, when Riverly flooded so badly and many loss of lives, that weather system was over Crabapple Creek, right over just south of Albert. Our creek was 100 feet wide that day. It's usually 6 feet wide. And so those creeks down there, particularly one of them that currently doesn't have a dam operating on it because it's under construction, could very quickly go from being little tributaries running through what appears to be a nice ditch to covering the entire area. So real damage could occur, and it's very concerning both to us because if it affects us, then we can't get out because of the 30,000 people trying to leave the facility, as well as to those obviously who will be there. Let's also be clear, the proposed location is in the floodplain for Williams Creek. I've talked to Dwayne Lewis, who's in charge of the county. I have maps that show an estimation of where that floodplain is, and the headquarters, ironically, that they propose to build would be right in that floodplain, as well as most of the concert area. I saw some of these equilateral triangle has 2 sides with a creek, and so the creek could very easily wash across there. So there's real risk for real weather events that could cause significant damage there. It also seems like one country doesn't think we can do basic arithmetic. I've talked about 30,000 people. There are 20,000 parking spaces and camping spaces. The one country says they use an average of 2.5 people per car. But if I do the math on 30,000 people and divide by 2.5, I come up with 12,000. Their math came up with 8,000. So I'm not sure how that slide rule worked, but if I do it to 20,000, their version came up to 6, ours comes up to 8. So the traffic figures even if they are depressed, and we assume their 2.5 figure is correct, are 8 to 12,000, not 6 to 8,000 cars for that 20 to 30,000 people. And as we've heard, all those people are going to be spending about $1,000 each. If they come up to 30 million for 30,000 people, $1,000 a piece, they're going to have to get in their cars and go somewhere to do that. Well, that's not in Stonewall. That's going to be Blanco or Johnson City or Fredericksburg. And so the traffic is going to be not just one trip per car, but at least 3. One to come in and wants to go out and come back to spend that $1,000. The schedule also, interestingly, in the proposal on September 6th, where we finally got to see the schedule of police officers and where they would be stationed on the gates. I'm particularly concerned now again with traffic on the gates as well as all across 290 and 1623. The schedule shows them leaving their posts at midnight. And it would seem to me that midnight is when all the traffic is going to be leaving the facility and there will be no peace officers on duty. So once again, the plan fails to deal with the reality of what's going on there. And another example of this consequence of understating the traffic in the language in the September 6th application, it says there will be 5,000 cars leaving the show at midnight on Sunday. Well, there are 20,000 parking spaces, and Sunday's the last night. And then only 2,000 to 3,000 will leave later. That's 8,000 cars. I don't understand how 20,000 people, 20,000 parking spaces leave in 8,000 cars. The constant underplaying of the amount of traffic is just remarkable. And what happens to the other 12,000 cars that aren't in the 5 plus 3,000 that the promoter puts in their application? Let's go back to the inspection. We talked to Mr. Fetterman about this, and he described this 12-lane process. He told me I was getting scientific on him, but the idea of taking 8 to 12,000 cars for 90 seconds each, just for a moment, is 300 hours to inspect them. 300 hours to inspect those cars on one trip. With 12 lanes, that's still 25 hours. And that's just for the daily traffic. So 25 hours a day, those cars are going to be inspected. And that's with 12 lanes running full. So I don't, those photographs are obviously great. They show pictures of when there isn't a lot of traffic, as the pictures that are included in the application show no traffic on the roads. That is not the experience that has been described to us by local residents. And quite honestly, the mathematics, the simple facts of what's being presented here with the volume of people and the number of lanes and whatever in 90 seconds, when you do the math, it says there's going to be 25 hours per day of inspections, and the rest of those cars are going to be waiting to come in. So I don't understand those pictures up there, but they do not tie into the 30,000. So I don't understand why wine country has failed to address this. They have 2 opportunities, 2 applications. We talked about some of the concerns the first time. The mistakes were still in there. There are others, like it's 19 minutes to Marble Falls. So I'm trying not to do that. So, Judge, in summary, I ask you to reject this application, not only because of the poorly thought out proposals it attempts to offer, but more importantly, because its lack of substance on so many issues. The lowball traffic figures, no TXDOT approval as yet. And I'm not surprised they want to wait till after this to get the approval, but given the location and the importance of traffic and the whole issue of traffic, it seems only fair to me that they should be required to get DOT approval before the approval from this group here. We've got peace officers leaving just as the traffic is leaving every night. We've got as of this morning, no local buy-in from local emergency or law enforcement to the plan of bringing in everybody, and Justice will take care of it all. There's no TCEQ approval, which I believe is required given the watershed there. That watershed feeds the city of Austin. In case there is spillage, I understand everybody's attempts to avoid it, but it doesn't always work that way. The power and communications plan. Right now, it's just generators. What I don't understand, given that the dependence of the emergency plan on cell phones and radios and communicating with people through their radios and cell phones is, and despite some verbal comments that we had from Mr. Fetterman earlier, there is no plan to provide power that we can see across the campground. So I don't know how people are going to keep their cell phones charged for 3 days. How are we going to run the RVs In conversation, there was a discussion about getting Central Texas Power, but that could take, we understand now, over a year. And you have to have a deployment in place in order to be able to get it. You have to have some sort of consumption. It's not clear to me that they would give priority to somebody who's going to use it for 3 days. The communications plan, I took a picture of that very small print chart up there. It was the first time I'd seen that. I saw no reference in there to how all this lovely infrastructure that's going to be in the field connects with the world. There is no fiber on 1623. To my knowledge, the closest fiber is at least 6 miles away in Stonewall, Texas. And so this would require some sort of a connection. Can't be wireless, because it won't handle the kind of traffic. I was in IT for 50 years, as I said. And I did understand most of what was up there. The water, 2 gallons for 3 days per person. I really would like to hear whether the health committee believes that's enough water for showering, drinking, and other needs. You've got a spider coming towards the leg right there. Sorry. It seems like 20 gallons per person, not 2, would be more appropriate. But I would really ask that somebody take a very, very serious look at that. The area that we're in Schumann Road, is those of us that live in that area and around there, and you'll hear this from others, we are at the center of the extreme drought in Texas, right at the center of it. It has been there for 2 years. And so the chances of it going away between now and next April are pretty slim. And it's going to take 25 inches of rain to put us back out of that situation. So taking bare farmland that has been laid at this point and turning that into winter wheat and being able to make it look like the photographs is a stretch for me. The application also demonstrates this strange lack of awareness about where it is. It's not in Fredericksburg or Fredericksburg, as it is asserted. It's in an empty field in the floodplain of Williams Creek, where many essential structures in the concert grounds of Wine Village are situated in the floodplain, with 20,000 cars parked on the slick creek bottom dirt, 20 to 30 minutes from any town without any weekend or festival traffic, at the center in the middle of an extreme drought. This is not a music festival, as I know it, and I've been to many, and I've managed one, and I still manage an annual festival, so I really do know what they do. It's clearly planned first as a moneymaker, hence the venture capital involvement, with music and wine enticing people to spend a lot of money to camp in an empty field in Fredericksburg. Thank you.
I'm going to ask that we not applaud after the speakers, please. Again, I understand the public sentiment. I understand the attendees and most of your positions are probably in opposition of this. However, we're going to try to conduct this as a civil meeting, a government meeting, if you will. And so please not applaud for the people that are giving testimony. Thank you. The next person signed up is Mr. Justin Weinheimer.
Good morning, Your Honor. Thank you for the opportunity to speak today. My name is Justin Weinheimer. My wife, Laura, my daughter, Marie, and I live on the property directly northeast of the proposed festival. We also operate our family business, a land service and heavy equipment company, from this property. Our land shares approximately 3,000 foot of fence line with the festival ranch. If you add my extended family's property to the south, our direct connection to the festival ranch is over 1.5 miles of fence line. Our home is likely the closest resident to the proposed festival. Thousands of residents and businesses in Gillespie County and Blanco County have expressed their concerns in opposition to permitting wine country. This demonstrates the radial impacts which extend much farther than the boundaries of the festival ranch. This is to be expected when you have a multi-overnight gathering of 30,000 alcohol-fueled people.
a crowd that exceeds the current population of Gillespie County. I am shocked that the discussions for having this event have gone this far, as this absurdity has wasted your time, county tax dollars, and the time of citizens on an event which should have never passed a simple no. The most recent version of the permit application failed to provide detailed or substantial plans for life safety, traffic flow, and environmental impacts. Additionally, the lack of infrastructure on the ranch remains an unsurmountable problem, as events of this scale are not designed to be held in rural cornfields. My phone conversations with Guadalupe County officials who struggled with the promoters' events known as Float Fest did not give me any confidence. At the beginning of my calls, I received an immediate chuckle or a brief pause, followed by an offering of condolences. After our discussions concluded, these officials wished me luck and indicated that they were sorry that the promoter was in Gillespie County, but glad that he had left Guadalupe County. Events like wine country should be held on locations such as sports arenas, convention centers, or municipal parks that have specifically built the infrastructure to accommodate crowds of this size. I would like to emphasize that there is no amount of additional permit requirements, modifications, or requests that the county can place upon the promoter to make an event of this size acceptable to the community. Judge Jones, given the above reasons, I respectfully ask you to take a stand with the taxpayers of this county and represent the people in the community who you work for and with, and deny the permit application on mass gatherings being requested by Wine Country LLC. I do not admire your position in this matter. My family and the community ask that you lean on us, your constituents, to help you defend against this invasion of our way of life. I appreciate your leadership, patience, and a heartfelt understanding of my family's and the extended community's concerns. Thank you.
The next person on the list is B.G. Pierce.
I'll try to act like I'm talking to my wife. Judge, my name is B.G. Pierce. I live on Schumann Road, 940. I'll be right on the other side of the first county card that comes up on this. I'm going to change up a little bit what I'm going to talk about. We're going to have plenty of facts coming out. But looking at the plan, the main issues I have, the first thing, this was pitched as a Fredericksburg event. Fredericksburg is over 20 miles from now. So that raises a question. The second thing is catching things out of this new presentation. Schumann Road is not going to be used for ticket holders. But when I look at the scale of the support logistics, their help on Schumann Road, right now there's a small construction company down there working on the lake, and it's bad enough. I nearly got run over 4 times just coming out of my house at 7:30 this morning. So it's going to be a nightmare with the transports. Just say it's 500 to 1,000 cars. Schumann Road is not making that. And at the creek, it's about wide enough for a fat mule to cross. And that's it. So you can't pass 2 cars at the same time. So anytime you stop and go, there's always that problem in that one point. I mean, we can draw circles. And Mr. Fetterman's already shown, hey, if I want a hamburger, I can go up lower out, go around and come back down high out. Why should I have to spend an extra 30 minutes to accommodate something that's in my backyard? I don't care if it's 3 days, it's still going to be a week or 2 of preparation, another week of cleaning it up. We'll be there for 2 weeks. And then on top of it, we already have the eclipse, which is not its problem. It's just the timing of it is just going to drain every resource we have. I've talked to the county officials, the county commissioner, the sheriff, anybody that's in. I'm also the person that started Preserve Albert, Texas on Facebook. In less than 72 hours, we had 1,600 members. This is a private group by invitation by locals and people they know and relatives. And that page has been kept very knowledge-based. We've tried to keep opinions out of it, scrub it as good as I can from the standpoint, we want to stick to the facts. And that's what I would like to see here from the standpoint of stick to the facts. Don't go back and say, we'll make allowances, we'll make changes. I want to see something concrete as of today. And the last thing I'll address is 1623, forget Schumann Road. Albert Hall's been across there since 1892. Their business thrives on traffic coming in, whether during the week, weekend, or whatever. Sad to say, I live a mile from there, so I frequent it once in a while. But when you look at the gate entries, the gates are there. But there is an individual, she owns the corner of 1623 Schumann Road to the east, Virginia. The only driveway that's established on that property is one. And when you go to tax dot, the question is going to be, is this contiguous property owner up through that 3,000 feet from her house to the end of the fence? And the answer is going to be very tough to justify. Now, if it was different owners, yes, he's right about the 400-foot spacings between driveways. But when it's one property owner, the question is going to be, why 3 to 4 entries? And I don't know that TxDOT's going to buy into that. And we've been a lot better off if he had that information when he got here. I can spend another 20 minutes. I'm going to take the courtesy of stepping away. And thank you for your time. Thank you, Mr. Fetterman, for coming in and stating your case. I think it's fair to everybody to hear both sides. So, thank you.
My name is Erin Yansky-Smith. I pride myself on the love that I have for my community. I'm from Albert. I was born and raised in Albert. I'm the Vice President of the Stonewall Chamber of Commerce. I'm Vice President of the William Street School. I'm on the advisory board at Stonewall Elementary School. I'm on the Donations and Raffle Committee and the Drinks Committee with the Stonewall Volunteer Fire Department. I run the Stonewall Food Pantry and I co-chair the Stonewall Christmas Food and Toy Drive. I stand before you today because I have never seen my community of Stonewall and Albert so frustrated and angry. Once it was learned that there was a mass gathering permit for an area in the middle of our community, questions began to be raised. As we learned more, my neighbors became more and more concerned and downright angry. My husband and I own 3 businesses in this community. Our working ranch in Albert is along 2 of the fence lines of the Wilson's property, where we raise exotic wildlife. Some of the exotics we raise are extremely vulnerable to being extinct. Dama gazelles and addax, to be precise. We work with many conservation organizations to grow the numbers of these species and to help repopulate the native lands. We own over 10% of the wild population of Dama gazelles in captivity. Their well-being is our main concern. To be clear, these animals are wild animals and as such will respond to a mass disruption. The increased traffic along 1623 will create a loud and unusual environment for these animals. The noise of the festival itself and the foot traffic will cause stress to these animals, which is an extreme danger for their lives. As chair for the Stonewall Chamber of Commerce, I was quite literally thrust into this position opposing this application. Judge, I should be clear on a few points. Our chamber exists to represent and promote our area, the businesses, and create a sense of community. We have never had cause to engage in the level we have, but we have never faced such an unprecedented mass event in our community. The same community told me that this proposed music festival was not merely an annoyance, but a threat to their health, the safety, and the ability to conduct business. In an attempt to disseminate the facts of the situation, we created a Facebook group that BG mentioned. It did grow to over 1,600 people in a few days and has been a vibrant forum for discussion and raising concerns. To help you understand the position of the people of Gillespie and Blanco County, we put out petitions in various businesses. In less than a week, we got over 800 signatures against this. Blanco County Sheriff Judge Bray emailed you with his deep concerns. Also, Blanco County Sheriff Jackson and Johnson City Mayor Stephanie Fisher. There are fundamental reasons you should deny this permit, Judge. You will hear a lot of them here today. I'm asking you on behalf of my animals, all of the animals, our businesses, and our neighbors. We have deep concerns for our safety and the ability to get from their places to their churches, school, work, stores, doctors. I ask you again, deny this mass gathering. Thank you.
The next intergenerational game day is March 27th at 3:30 at Llano County Library. Talk About the Hill Country wants to remind listeners that libraries are a great resource. Books are only the beginning. Patrons can take workshops on crafts, healthy living, exercise, and much more. Library apps make ebooks and Audible books available for free. We have many great libraries here in the KNAF listening area in Fredericksburg, Johnson City, Boerne, Llano, Marble Falls, Brady, Harper, and Mason, to name just a few. Make a visit to the library one of your fun field trips this week. Talk About the Hill Country is a service of KNAF and HC Broadcasting. If your business or organization has an event or a new service coming up in the days, weeks, or months ahead, contact us to be put on the calendar. Talk About the Hill Country comes on every Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. on KNAF AM 910. Call KNAF at 830-997-2197, fax 830-997-2198, or email knafnews@gmail.com.